The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and new beginnings. Norman held his son for the first time, feeling the impossible lightness of 7 pounds, 3 ounces. But as he looked down at the infant's face, his world tilted. The baby's skin was several shades darker than either his or Sarah's. The features were unmistakable. Sarah. His voice came out strangled. Sarah, I need you to explain this to me. His wife's face was pale against the hospital pillow, exhausted from 18 hours of labor. When she saw his expression, something broke in her eyes. Norman, please, don't. He stepped back, still holding the baby, who began to whimper. Just don't lie to me. Not now. I'm not lying. Sarah's voice cracked. Norman, I swear to God, I have never been with anyone else. You're the only man I've been with in 5 years. You have to believe me. But belief felt impossible. Norman looked down at his son. Was he his son? And felt his entire reality fragmenting. Every moment of their marriage suddenly became suspect. Every late night she'd worked, every business trip, every time she'd been distant or distracted. How stupid do you think I am? The words came out bitter. I can see with my own eyes, Sarah. I'm not colorblind. Neither am I. She was crying now, reaching for him. Norman, please. I don't understand it either. But I swear on our marriage, on this baby, on everything we've built together, I have been faithful to you. A nurse entered, sensed the tension, and quietly left. Norman placed the baby in the hospital bassinet with shaking hands. He couldn't hold him anymore. Couldn't look at the living proof of his wife's betrayal. 5 years, he said quietly. 5 years of marriage. 3 years trying to have this baby. The miscarriage that nearly destroyed us both. All those fertility treatments. Was any of it real? Or have I been living in a fantasy this whole time? It was all real. She tried to sit up, wincing in pain. Norman, every moment was real. Our love is real. This baby is ours. That baby is not mine. The words exploded from him. Other patients in nearby rooms could probably hear, but he didn't care. Look at him, Sarah. Just look at him. I am looking at him. And I see our son. A son I carried for 9 months. A son we made together. Even if I can't explain. Can't explain? Norman laughed, a harsh sound. Oh, I think the explanation is pretty fucking clear. He grabbed his jacket. He needed air, needed space, needed anything but this room, this conversation, this impossible situation. Where are you going? Sarah's voice was small, terrified. I don't know. Away. I can't be here right now. Norman, please. But he was already gone, the door swinging shut behind him. Norman drove aimlessly through the city, his mind a storm. He thought about calling his brother, his best friend, anyone who could help him make sense of this. But what would he even say? My wife had a black baby, but she swears she didn't cheat. They'd think he was either in denial or the biggest fool alive. Maybe he was both. He ended up at their house, standing in the nursery they'd spent months preparing. The crib they'd assembled together. The mobile he'd hung while Sarah painted clouds on the walls. Every detail chosen with such hope, such joy. Had she been thinking of someone else while they painted these walls? While they chose names? While they made love, trying desperately to conceive? His phone buzzed. Sarah. He ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. On the 4th call, he answered. What? Norman. It was his mother-in-law's voice, steady and urgent. You need to come back to the hospital. Now. I can't. Norman, the doctor needs to speak with both of you. It's important. Something in her tone made him listen. 20 minutes later, he was back in that hospital room, avoiding Sarah's red-rimmed eyes. Dr. Chen entered, carrying a tablet, and wearing an expression Norman couldn't read. Mr. and Mrs. Harrison, I've been reviewing your medical histories and genetic testing we routinely do on newborns. She paused. I believe I can explain what you're experiencing. Norman felt Sarah grab his hand. He didn't pull away. Have either of you heard of dormant genes or genetic atavism? They both shook their heads. Dr. Chen pulled up images on her tablet. Sometimes, genetic traits can skip multiple generations. We're talking great-great-grandparents or even further back. These genes can remain unexpressed for generations before suddenly appearing. She looked at both of them carefully. Did you know that your maternal great-great-grandmother was a black woman who passed for white? Sarah's intake of breath was sharp. What? No, how would you even know that? Your genetic testing revealed markers consistent with approximately 12% African ancestry. We see this more often than you'd think, particularly in families with complicated histories around race. In the early 20th century, many people of mixed race made difficult choices about identity. Norman felt like the floor was tilting again, but in a different direction. So, you're saying? Sarah's voice trembled. Our baby, our son looks the way he does because of my ancestry? Genes I didn't even know I had? Exactly. It's rare, but it happens. The genes from your great-great-grandmother remained dormant through multiple generations of your family, and now they've expressed themselves in your son. The doctor left them with pamphlets about genetic inheritance and resources for families navigating unexpected genetic traits. The room was silent, except for the baby's soft breathing from the bassinet. Norman, Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. I told you I didn't. I know. He couldn't look at her yet. I know you did. But you didn't believe me. That was the pain between them now. Not infidelity that was never there, but the absence of faith. The readiness with which he'd assumed betrayal. The quickness with which he'd been willing to burn down their life together. I'm sorry, he said, the words inadequate. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I should have trusted you. Should have known you better than that. You should have. She wasn't letting him off easy. She shouldn't. You should have believed me when I swore to you, when I begged you. I know. He finally looked at her. Really looked at her. His wife. The woman who'd held his hand through his father's death. Who'd sobbed in his arms after the miscarriage. Who'd taken 57 hormone shots to try to give them this baby. I don't know if I can forgive you right away, she said quietly. You broke something today, Norman. When you walked out that door, when you looked at our son like he was a stranger, you broke something between us. I know, he said again, tears finally coming. I know I did. And I will spend however long it takes earning back your trust, proving to you that I can be the husband you deserve. The father our son deserves. She reached for the baby, lifted him from the bassinet. His eyes were closed, face peaceful. What do we do now? Now? Sarah looked down at their son. Now we figure out how to be parents. How to raise a black child in a world that's not always kind. How to honor the ancestor I never knew I had. How to explain all of this to him someday. Together? She met his eyes finally. I don't know yet. Ask me tomorrow. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a chance. And as Norman looked at his son, and he was his son, undeniably he understood that trust, once broken, would have to be rebuilt like everything worth having. Slowly, deliberately, and with proof of change. The baby opened his eyes, dark and curious, looking between his parents as if asking a question they'd spend a lifetime trying to answer.